Hello, friends, and welcome to the Positivity Wins podcast. My name is Ross Braun, and I am your host. I'm so excited to launch this brand new podcast platform called Positivity Wins. And you are officially a friend. Yeah, I say it all the time. Every state, every location that I'm in, if I'm speaking to a group of people, I always connect with people and I call them friends. And I mean that, not just in the moment, not just in this episode, but if you're listening in, we are now connected. And I appreciate that you have listened in and we are going to be friends. And what does that mean? It means I'm going to support you, hopefully make a positive impact on you, and you have me in your corner now and for whenever you may need it down the road. So, in this episode of Positivity Wins podcast, I just want to introduce myself, introduce the episodes, what we're going to be covering, the why behind the podcast, and just give you all of the introductions that you need. So, who am I? If you do not know me, my name is Ross Braun, and I am a proud positivity promoter. What does that mean? It means that I try to bring positivity into every room that I'm in. I don't. It doesn't always work. I'm not always positive every single second of my life, even though some people do believe that. But being a positivity promoter to me is making a positive impact on others. And so sometimes that positivity just may be a high five, a handshake, a smile, a thank you for your service. I appreciate what you're doing. Small acts, small gestures, positivity. And other times you got to be a coach. You got to stay in that corner. You've got to continue to check in on the people around you and in your circle, maybe those that you work with, those that are in your family. So throughout the podcast, I want to help you become a positivity promoter because that's what our world needs, right? We need more positivity in our homes, in our schools, in our workplaces, in our communities. We need positivity. And so that is why I have decided to launch this new podcast. I'm so excited. One thing that I get when I speak is people coming up after my sessions and saying, "How are you so positive? Why are you so positive?" I get that direct messages sometimes. Like, I love your positivity that you share on your timeline. Is this really you? Yes, this is really me. And those of you that are around me a lot and are in my circle, you know it's obnoxious sometimes, but it's who I am. It's how I'm wired. And I believe that it's a gift, a God given gift that I need to use to promote more positivity in this world. So it's what you're going to get in this podcast series. It's not going to be in your face over the top. You got to be like me, but it's going to be real, authentic, and it's going to help you grow and hopefully help me grow as well throughout this process. So, on the Positivity Wins podcast, I am going to share personal strategies with you, ways that I have grown throughout the years and ways that I have failed too many times over the years. But at the end of the day, when we stay positive, there will be success and there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. We're also going to have a lot of guests. I'm super excited about some of the guests that I have lined up. And those guests are going to bring unique topics. And so we're not always just going to shove positivity down your throat, but we are going to cover some really cool topics. So we can take a look at some of these. We're going to talk about the science behind positivity. Like, it's not just me smiling and laughing and being crazy all the time. There really is the science behind it, and it really impacts your brain, the way you think, and then it builds healthy habits. On another episode, we're going to talk about how you find the win in a loss. I'm actually going to dive a little bit into that today, reframing the setbacks that you have and making those become opportunities for your future. Another episode is we're going to talk about daily gratitude and how certain habits that you could practice that take 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute can really impact your entire day and your life as well. How about how we break out of the negativity loop. Ooh, I'm very excited for that one. I've got a great guest lined up for that episode as well. So many times we can just get in a spiral, a pessimistic mindset, and just where we constantly are looking at things through a negative lens when things aren't going our way. How can we stay positive even during those times? How about celebrating other people's wins? This is so important. And as you and I both know, it doesn't happen enough in today's world. And so we've got to teach not just ourselves, but especially our youth that it is okay to root for someone else. And we always don't have to be first, despite what Ricky Bobby says. Positivity and leadership. This one is obviously near and dear to me, being a leader, being a former principal and coaching leaders around in the country now. It's so important. And I see a lot of negativity in leadership. And what does that do? Spirals right down to the people that you serve, spirals right up to the communities that you serve. And all of a sudden, we've got an entire community that only looks at negative things and negative actions, turning gossip into growth. I can tell you this, I've worked with a lot of schools around the country, and I have not met a school that did not have some type of gossip, some type of negativity in their school. I thought it was just the school that I was serving at, and it was a constant uphill battle and a never ending battle, but it's everywhere. And so I'd love to dive into this one and give you some tips and tricks on how you can take gossip and turn it into growth for your organization. And lastly, bring the max of kindness. Dr. Chris Culver is going to come and share. He is the doctor of science, kindness, and he is going to dive into that one with us. So on each episode, it's going to look a little bit different. If you know me, I'm a sports guy. Obviously, positivity wins the name of this podcast, but there's gonna be a playbook, and so we're gonna look at each episode as a kickoff, 2 to 3 minutes, high energy welcome, that type of thing. I'll give you 5 to 7 minutes of my thoughts on this topic, and then we're gonna bring in a guest, really an expert that can dive in, give us some personal strategies, some stories as well on their journey through positivity. And then we're going to end with a power move, something that you can take with you this week. Sometimes there's going to be a challenge where we'll check in the following week and see how you did with the power move. And then we'll end up with the final buzzer and just something motivating that we can close the episode with. And so that's what it's going to look like today. Like I said, I want to continue with the intro and share a little bit about who I am and share a little bit about the why behind this podcast. And then we'll go into a little bit of a topic for today. And then one thing that you will see is I try to keep these episodes 30 minutes or less because it's about the average commute, average lunch break, average workout time. 30 minutes is also the longest that I'm going to hold anyone's attention, that's for sure. So 30 minutes or less will be these episodes. So if you don't know me, my name is Ross Braun, and I am not only a positivity promoter, but I'm a proud forever educator. What does that mean? That means that I started teaching second grade and fell in love with education. I fell in love not with teaching reading and writing and math, that's for sure, but I fell in love with relationships and I fell in love with the kids that I was serving. I fell in love with the opportunity that I had to make a positive impact on a child, on staff members, on colleagues in those settings. And so that's what led me into education. That's what led me into leadership. Feel like I blinked twice. And I was an elementary principal serving over 600 students and 80 staff members day in and day out. And I think in this role was when positivity really hit me and I realized the power of positivity. Before, I was just always kind of a positive, happy go lucky person. And it wasn't until I stepped into the principal role that I saw the importance of positivity, but I also found myself not as positive and it bothered me. Why? Because those of you that are principals or in education, you know the role of a principal, you know that that position is the position that takes everybody's problems and it becomes your problem. I'm not kidding. When it comes to parents constantly calling, emailing, sharing all the problems that are happening with their child and their friends and peer pressure, bullying, and all this stuff. When it comes to staff members, and I joke about this in PD a lot, but if I could have a building of 600 students and no staff members, I probably would still be principal. And that's something you don't learn when it comes to your master's in educational leadership is just um, the negativity that adults bring into a school setting. And we'll dive deeper into that on one of our episodes. And obviously, I'm passionate about it and it strikes a nerve with me. But also, when it comes to kids, obviously, you're dealing with discipline and not just discipline, but some kids just have it bad and they carry a lot of baggage to school. And it breaks my heart thinking about some of the kids that come to mind immediately when I start sharing about this. But you just want to rip them out of their home and love on them and say it's going to be okay. But at 3 o'clock every day, you have to send them back to an environment that you know is not healthy and is not best for them. And it doesn't matter how many calls the DCS you make, that they still go back into those environments. And so, in the position as a school principal, you carry a lot of negativity with you day in and day out. And I found myself in a position that I was coming home and I was just spreading it like wildfire in our house. And I wasn't the dad that I should have been, the husband that I should have been. And at the end of the day, I wasn't the best principal that I could be as well because I was letting negativity consume me daily. I was in that constant firefighter mode, as we like to call it in education. And so I decided to make change. And that is when I started reaching out and I built a really strong personal learning community, handpicked by folks on social media and in our communities. And I just said, I need your help. I need more positivity in my life. I started following John Gordon and the works of John Gordon, who made me the principal, an award winning principal that I was. I never met the guy personally in my life, but he has made a tremendous impact on me, who I am as a father, husband, and leader. And so that was when I needed to make a change. And I said, I'm not just going to make a change for myself, but to make a change for others. We'll start spreading positivity in every moment that I can. And I'm going to share all of these tools and resources that I have learned on my journey so others that may be feeling the same way I was can get out of this constant cycle of negativity and become better dads, better husbands, better spouses, better employees, leaders, better members in our community, all of these things that I want you to become. So that leads me into um, the why and who this podcast is for. The why is because I've said it already, but I want to make a positive impact on you and your life. And together as a community, I want to share stories. I want you to share your stories with us. And I want to create more positive communities, more positive workplaces, more positive homes, because our world needs it. I just want to impact as many people throughout this process as I possibly can. And if it's a dozen, done my job. It's two, I've done my job. But I'm excited for the potential that this podcast has, and I'm excited to have you on the journey. So, if you are an educator, then you may know me. You may know my works in education. You may know me from my current position as the vice president for school life. But this podcast is not just for educators. Will we talk about education? Absolutely. It's who I am. I'm a forever educator, but we're not just going to only talk about education. We're going to talk about personal growth, how you can grow in your life. So, this podcast is for truly everyone. If you're in a spot in your life and you're like, I need help, I want to get better. And hopefully that's everybody. And we don't just want to stay constant in life, going through the motions, feeling that rain cloud over us day in and day out. No, let's stop because we deserve to be happy in life. We deserve to have what we want. We're going to work for it. We're going to get there to the finish line. And at the end of it, it's a pretty positive place. So I hope that you go along with me. I ask that If you are listening in and you're enjoying it, then tell your neighbor, tell your spouse, tell your friends, tell your ex spouse, whoever you think needs to hear this message. Let's jump in together and do this thing. And so, quickly, as we wrap up today's message, something that I sent out on social media. If you follow me at the Mr. Braun, I try to hit all social medias. I definitely am most active on X or Twitter still. It's the largest community that I'm involved in, but I'm working on growing in Instagram, and we'll see if I might get around to TikTok as well. But today's message is, are you struggling with defeat? Are you doing, or excuse me, are your doors just not opening? Are you in a point in your life that you feel like every opportunity that you go for ends with a door slammed in your face? Or a no thank you, we went with another candidate. Uh, a sorry, this can't happen right now. No, we don't have the money for this. Your credit score is only this. Whatever it may be, you might be in a spot in your life and you say, gosh, it's just not my time. Here is my suggestion for you: start celebrating others, celebrate their accomplishments, their wins, start cheering them on, start rooting for the underdog. And when we do that, a couple things happen. One, others see us, they hear us, they start winning, and they start accomplishing their goals. And instead of looking at them and being jealous or feeling some type of way, just keep cheering. Know that your time is coming. You'll start to realize that not only do you get closer to your goals, but all of a sudden your mindset starts changing because you're surrounding yourself with positivity, with people who are winning, and it's going to make you hungry to win. And you're going to realize that your daily habits will start to change. And at the end of the day, it may be next week, it may be next year, your time is coming, but you have to go for it. You have to reach for it. You have to cheer on others. You have to go through the door. One of my good friends, Todd Nessaloni, told me one time in life, you don't know if an opportunity is there unless you go for it. And so don't be afraid to fail. It's okay. I think sometimes we don't win in life because we are afraid to even jump in the game. So that's it for your introduction to the Positivity Wins podcast. Again, I'm so thankful that you've listened to the intro. Will you come back for our first official episode? Some of our guests will be virtual, others are going to be sitting right here with me by the fire, and we're going to have some good fireside chats with them and spread positivity, because when positivity wins, we all win. Thank you again. I'll see you next time.